Chaps, I've got Dan on here. Great name, by the way. You contacted the page because you were talking about your wife and a few personal things, but I don't want to talk for you, mate. Tell us about yourself, mate. Why are we talking?
Yeah, we're talking because we had a diagnosis of bowel cancer. Lisa was at the time 41. She'd been going through incredible pain for a couple of years, in and out of the hospital, doctors, misdiagnosis. It went on for far too long, and then she went in for a routine colonoscopy, which again was just meant to be in and out within a day.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that meant it was I went off to work as normal. I didn't hear nothing back from her, and when I got back that night, I'd found out she'd had a 7 hour emergency operation, and she nearly died that day in hospital.
And you didn't
Um,
even know.
no, I'd gone to work that day with like a farm and a haulage company, so I'd gone off in the truck for the day over towards the Midlands, and it was all just planned that Lisa would get picked up that evening. And our friend Cara, Lisa's best mate, had said to text me and said, "Dan, don't worry, Lisa's gone in for a minor operation. They've found something, but don't panic, she'll be fine."
So
We'll
obviously that's going to make you panic, isn't
It's
it?
good. I was paying. I was miles away as well. I was like a
Wow,
couple
bloody
hundred
hell,
miles
mate.
up the road. Um, got back that evening. My mum and dad had the children, and I'd gone around there and I hadn't heard nothing at all. And I'm starting to panic then, thinking, well, we should have heard something by now.
Yeah.
And it got to 7:30 time, and I got this phone call, and the phone went, and this chap said, "Is that Darren?" Like, no, I don't know a Darren, mate. I've never heard of a Darren. He said, "No, I said, "Oh, Dan." He said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, it's Dan." He said, "I've got your wife. She's just come out of the theatre. She's been in for 7 hours. We've removed a tumour the size of an orange." So this tumour had been growing for God knows how long. They'd removed it. It's ruptured the bowel wall. So very lucky to catch it at that time.
Yeah.
Lucky enough, the night before, the surgeon um, who'd done the checks had seen Lisa and got him down to theatre straight away and managed to remove this tumour. So then we're on this journey then of wondering what it might be, knowing that it could be cancer. And then we found out, because of the COVID times, we got the phone call. So we found out by phone call that Lisa had been diagnosed with bowel cancer. So as I was outside on the drive, I got a friend round. We were doing some work outside, and she called me in and said, "Dan, I've had the phone call. It's cancer." And I was like, typical bloke. I was like, "I'm just going to go outside and finish what I'm doing. We'll come back and talk about it later."
Yeah.
Because it's the shock news, isn't it? You just don't expect that. And I went out and spoke to my friend Ollie, and he said, "Dan, I think we need to down tools now. You need to go in and sit down and really try and let it sink
Yeah.
in." So at the time, we just think, we'll get through it. It's cancer, but a lot of people survive it, and the treatment's there. But little did we know it was the start of a really long kind of 3 year journey, really. So yeah, that led on to sort of the recovery from that major operation, which she recovered from really well. But because it was during the COVID time, the treatment wasn't followed up as quick, because we couldn't get her into hospital like we were meant to, and the appointments were a lot less than what they should have been. So, and I never got a chance to go into appointment with her. So everything that happened there was, again, that was another struggle, because I couldn't quite work out what was happening, because she was getting all the information on her side, and then I was kind of left out of it, really. So
That's
yeah, it was
horrible, mate.
difficult, really. After that, we went on. It, the operation was March 2020, so we went another year nearly until April 2021, and that was when we found out that had spread to a liver, and it was then diagnosed as terminal. And again, that day, Lisa walked into the room to see the oncologist, and she got that news herself that day. And I sat in the car park because I wasn't allowed to go in. I found out a couple of weeks later that I could have gone in, but she was again just trying to protect me and my probably my mental health, knowing that I was going to have to sit in that room with her and the oncologist and find that bad news out. So
That's weird. That's weird, isn't it? Because for me, as a third party, what I mean. There's somebody who
yeah,
can fly on the wall. On one hand, I get it. I get what Lisa was trying to do. But on the other hand, I can see both. But that's hard. That's
yeah,
hard.
she was very, very selfless, and the way we dealt with it with the children again was try and keep everything as normal as possible right up until the end. And there were times where I was thinking, we need to say a bit more now, because this is going to be a major shock, obviously, but could it damage them if they know too little, too late? Um, but I went with her wishes, and obviously the two children knew Lisa was really ill because she'd had the chemo throughout that year
Yeah,
and beyond. But then the deterioration quickened suddenly, really, and then we had visits from the hospice team in the house. So then I had to try and slowly give a little bit more information out. But how do you come out with them words? That's the one thing that you should never have to tell your children, is that they're quite possibly going to lose their mum, but not knowing
yeah,
how long she's got. And it's then trying to find a way of putting that information over without
yeah,
damaging them too much, and not knowing how they're going to be afterwards. You just don't know. Thankfully, they've turned out to be good so far, but you just don't know at the time, do you really? So
yeah,
my son came up the hospital on the night we lost her, and he had that time with her. So I got a chance to sit there with him and Lisa, and
yeah,
they had the words together, which is something that obviously we'll never forget. That's something that's helped him, I think, through this whole thing, is knowing that he got a chance to say goodbye to his mum. Other than some people would never get that chance. So but then yeah, the next morning after we lost her, I had to come home and then work out how I'm going to sit Amber down and then tell her that mum was gone. So, and I think if you go through that as a parent and have to find them situations and get through them situations, you've got that's that trauma side of it, isn't it? You don't never want to be in that position, but you have to go through it. There's no running away, is there?
no, you've
So
got
you've got
full,
to face it, and you've got to be that strong person. You can't just collapse, because everyone needs you. Everyone's looking at you for an answer. You've got the children, you've got the friends, you've got the parents, and you've held that for so long while Lisa was ill. When that moment happens, when you lose her, and I'm sitting there right beside her, and that's when it really hit.
yeah,
To see that happen in front of me as well was it's just it's something that has changed me forever, really.
yeah,
You don't ever want to see that, um, but everyone's looking at you for that direction, and so you have to be strong. But there's times again when now we're in our second year now, and um, I've noticed as well going through that I was as strong as I could have been, but I'm noticing now in this second year, it's the first year was probably based on adrenaline. Like, I'm
yeah,
doing this for Lisa, I can carry on doing this.
yeah,
If she could see me now cooking, cleaning, working. But the second year is more, this is reality. It's not going to change.
yeah,
This is how it's always going to be. So and you have to show up every day. That's the trouble, isn't it?
yeah.
If I don't show up, the children don't get the school stuff done and don't get to school, or the house doesn't get sorted out and the tea don't get cooked. But it's that relentlessness of it. And so that's why I took to the running and stuff like that, to try and give me a way of coping mentally, just
Well,
to take a break from it.
that's what I was going to say. Is like how how are you like this? Like you seem you obviously I've spoken to by the I was going to say what on the messages and all this kind of stuff. You don't have any, but you don't appear to have any bitterness. You don't you.
No, do you know what,
How
Dan?
have you got to this where you've kind of just accepted it?
I'm I'm not sure really, because I was angry when the morning the hospice team came home here one morning, and I sat in the living room with Lisa, and they said, right, we'll apply for a bed for you. And it was like we'd been defeated, because we tried to keep her here for that long,
Yeah,
and we'd both tried to do our own do it our own way. It was like our battle, basically. But when we knew we'd had to go to the hospice, it was like, well, we've been beaten. There's no way out now. It's now terminal. You're going to go to the hospice and probably never come back. And that morning, we'd applied for a room and probably thinking that she might go in that week.
Yeah.
2 hours later, we got a phone call from the hospice team and said, right, we've got a bed. Do you want to come in? And it's like, right, we better pack a bag then. So then you're thinking to yourself, this might be the last time she sees home. And we'd renovated the house up and everything. We'd spent years saving for it and doing all the work, trying to do as much as we could ourselves. And Lisa was so brave. She just packed the bag and said, come on, just go. Got to get it done. Just need to get out of here. I need to get some better pain relief, because it was just getting through. I was up all night giving her oxycodone, morphine. And
Yeah.
when you've got someone that you love and you've spent most of your life with in so much pain that you literally can't do nothing else for them, you've given them the limit of oxycodone, morphine, you've given paracetamol, you've given everything you could ever try, and they're still looking at you going, I'm in pain. And all you can do then is go and heat up a wheat bag or a hot water bottle and just sit there and pray that they're going to go to sleep, and hopefully they'll settle. So the chance of the hospice option was probably a way of Lisa having more comfort and me getting a little bit more of I'll say a break, but me getting a little bit more sleep to try and deal with the next day. So she went into the hospice on 16th of November 2021, and she didn't come home. There was 5 weeks in the hospice up until December the 19th. And I was trying to be up there every day. I think I missed 2 days because of that was the Omicron COVID virus at the time, wasn't it? So they were a bit iffy with how much time you spent in there. So we had 5 weeks of leading up to Christmas, trying to keep Christmas the same for the children, putting Christmas trees up and trying to keep it. It's never going to be normal, is it, obviously, but it was just trying to make things as normal at home as possible as we could for the kids.
Yeah.
But then knowing that what was coming fairly quickly, and you just think, could it be Christmas Day? Could have, and the date doesn't matter, does it really? But she passed on the 19th of December. Wow. And then you're facing Christmas a few days later, aren't you? So,
well, especially with 2 kids as well. Did you say two?
Yeah, James was 14, Amber was 8. So, and I honestly, when it happened, I felt that morning when she went to the hospice, I felt really angry. Because we'd gone so far and tried everything, and that was when a lot of anger came out. And I thought, is this the way now? Is this how I'm going to be? Just angry at the world. You know, you've got jealousy of other families that have not had it, and you shouldn't feel like that. You know, you wouldn't wish it on your worst enemy, but it's natural, isn't it? You think, why us? But then I don't know what clicked. I just thought, well, if that's not the way about it in front of the children, is it? It's not going to help them. I still get angry, I still get frustrated, but in front of the kids, I've got to try and stay positive. So that's kind of been my aim. So yeah.
Did you? I might sound quite harsh asking this question, but I think do you think you yourself have actually dealt with it?
I don't know, Dan. I think I've done all I can to try and process it, but I don't know if I'll ever.
That was probably the better word, so I put it.
Yeah.
I didn't mean any offense, by the way. But...
No, yeah, don't worry. Honestly, you're right in what you're asking there, because that's a genuine question. Because have I run away from it? Maybe I've done too much. If you look at what I've done in 2 years, it's been incredible. I mean, I don't know why I put myself through that really, but that's probably been my way of dealing with it.
Well, when you do like the marathons, I think anyone who does a marathon's a nutter anyway, because it's just it's road running as well, isn't it?
It's road and I've done some trail as well. So
it's just like the trail stuff. I've done like the Tough Mudders and the rat race and all this kind of stuff. With that, at least you get like little breaks between obstacles and all this stuff. But a marathon, like on pavement and roads, it's torture.
It is torture. Yeah. And
Why anyone would want to do it, especially when we get like your fundraisers and stuff like that. It just blows my mind, really. But
I think having the fundraising added into it gives you that accountability to
to
knowing
do
that
that.
it doesn't
Yeah,
matter how painful it gets, you're doing this for the right reasons, you're doing it for whatever charity you're raising money for. I'd always say if you're going to sign up for something like that, do it for a charity that you're connected with, because that's going to be your why. That's going to be your reason to get you over that line when them last however many miles are
yeah,
just too tough to even face. And that's when the mental battle comes into it. It's the
yeah.
physicality is gone, your legs are gone. You've just got that mental battle to try and get to the finish line.
Yeah, well,
But
good up though. Good on you, mate. Honestly, I know. So, but I think the main thing is when you said you're not sure whether you process or whatever. When you do these marathons and you do, I presume a lot of it's on your own. When you come back, do you feel like a lot of your life's been decluttered? Did your brain decluttered?
it's exhausting. I do feel that, yeah. Every time I've been out and had done an event, I feel like I've given a little bit more back.
Yeah,
Um, but maybe I've not accepted what's really happened. It's reality. I know what's happened, but
yeah.
I don't know if I'll ever accept it. How do you really come to terms with it? You just have to try and adapt and rebuild and carry that grief with you every day. And I think I always will do. So
That's the thing. Like, there's a charity called Strongmen. They do like camping for people who have lost somebody. It's immense. What they do is absolutely brilliant. I'm going away in Snowdonia because
yeah,
my brother was killed a few years ago. I'm not comparing or whatever else, but the thing is when you lose somebody, people say, "Oh, get better one day." It doesn't. My brother was killed like over 10 years ago. It doesn't get better.
yeah,
You learn to deal with it.
yeah. So you know, don't you? You've felt that as well, and you
Yeah,
just learn.
obviously, I don't want to compare to a spouse. I couldn't think of anything worse than losing a spouse, especially with kids and all sorts. But it's just, does the grief get better? It gets easier to deal with. But no,
Yeah,
I don't. You'll always miss that person.
I think it doesn't get easier. You just get stronger, I
Yeah,
suppose,
no,
don't you?
exactly that. Yeah,
You get stronger.
I'll have to find it. I keep referencing it. I can never. There's something on YouTube, like a video just saying about how grief is just this big bubble when it happens,
Yeah,
and then something, I don't know, like a child comes in or a new car. Or, I don't know. I said new car, but you go, all of these life little things kind of happen. So that grief bubble is always there, but you learn to deal with it around other stuff.
yeah, yeah. I've
You know?
seen some situations on different posts where that bubble is there, but you kind of grow around it, don't you? And I think you try and feel life around that. And we're perhaps probably a case of us living our lives now for Lisa, trying to live as good a life as we can realistically to make sure that we're doing our best for her.
Yeah,
Which is
that's
another reason I try to conduct myself as well as I can.
yeah,
But I do feel a connection with other people that carry grief, whether it be a spouse, child, mother, father, whatever, brother, sister. Because I think unfortunately, once you've been through that, you know you carry it every day, don't you? And
yeah,
luckily enough, I went through quite a lot of my life. I lost my grandparents they were at a good age, but then when I lost Lisa, that was the first time I've had to deal with someone losing their life at an early age. Cutting
yeah,
short their life. So then the grief comes harder, then, doesn't it? Because you think you're grieving for the time that they've lost as well. You're
yeah,
grieving for the moments that you're living with the children or with the other family that they're not getting to see anymore.
yeah.
So it's a continuous grief, then, isn't
Yeah.
it?
So what do you do to to keep your head strong now?
Uh, Train, run,
Oh, okay. Yeah,
fitness, uh, try and eat well, get outside a lot,
yeah,
um, make sure the children are relatively positive, try and keep connected to my support group. And yeah, that's it. It's quiet. Life's quiet for me now, relatively quiet. I don't socialize much. I probably should do. After 2 years, I probably should get out a bit more.
yeah,
But um, and I don't drink now. I never used to drink a lot, but I used to enjoy a beer
yeah.
and with the lads. But that's kind of affected my training. If I go out now to drink the next day, I can't get up and train. I think
Right,
there's got to
okay.
be a balance coming fairly soon where I do need to probably just get out a little bit more and perhaps take a bit more self-care
Yeah.
and do stuff that I enjoy. But
Well, I think that's the key, and I think this is what happens with. I think this is what happens with society just in general. Is we're just so focused on keeping busy. I think we've all forgotten how to relax.
you're right, 100% right there. Yeah, yeah. It's like a
I
scene
think,
bad that you, if you don't do nothing all afternoon and you watch TV, it's like, well, you've wasted an afternoon. But that
yeah,
afternoon could have been the best thing you've done all week because it's given you the
exactly.
energy
Yeah.
to to rebuild for the next day.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think as long as you're not, as long as you're not using it to hide away from your problems. Say, for example, like gym people, they're the worst ones for going to the gym to hide away so they don't have to deal with stuff.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
you go, like I said to you, when you do your marathons, it's like if you come away thinking that my brain's completely decluttered and like refresh, even though you might be absolutely exhausted and knackered, if you're coming away thinking, oh, actually, you've got rid of stress, what you didn't even know what was there. Do
yeah.
you am I making sense?
That's how it makes me feel. Definitely. Yeah,
What I'm pointing at you now, so I apologize for that. But so I would say you are processing it and you are slowly dealing with it. If you was
yeah,
doing it, if you was doing it to just to switch off and hide away from the problems, then I think then it would be something to be worried about. But
yeah,
if
yeah,
you're doing it and coming back thinking, yeah, I've just you know what's important rather than
yeah.
brain fart. Am I making sense? Or
Yeah, I'd see what you're saying there, definitely. And there's been lads from the support group that have come with me, and there's been kind of a group thing. So they've supported me through the marathon. I've had some good friends of mine run with me,
yeah,
who are runners as well, which has helped. So within this group of us, we've all done hikes. I've done my runs. We've done the girls have done a girls walk round Bury. So we've all collectively raised that money, which is our way of trying to leave a legacy for Lisa as well.
good
But
on you.
getting back to like you're saying about doing the events and how I feel when I get back, there's a lot of tiredness, but I feel like I've achieved something positive, and
Yeah,
I've cleared my head as well.
yeah.
And that
Well,
if I
that's the thing. This is something we actively promote. Like me, I've just come back from being at the Peak District to basically sleeping in a tent on the edge of a mountain. I know they're in
brilliant,
mountains, or wherever else. I do that roughly every couple of months, just to clear my head.
it's exactly what we
Um,
need. And I think if it wasn't for that, I mean, I love the outdoors, hiking, running. If it wasn't for that, I can can quite honestly say I'd be in a lot worse a place now. I'd be quite worried. I think that's
Good on you.
definitely saved me in a way.
Yeah. Well,
Just having that
yeah.
option to go and do these events, to have that fitness to do it. If I hadn't have had that chance, I think, I probably would have struggled a lot more.
Yeah. Well, good on you. And as I say, this is why find something what you generally enjoy and clears the brain. If you
Yeah.
want to start a knitting group, doesn't matter. Me, it's just because you love doing marathons. I think you're mental for it. And I'll do like 2 or 3 miles, and then I'm done. Like my legs are and
Yeah.
my shins. I can't be bothered with all that. But you know what? Just because it doesn't work for me, if it works for you, then it's not wrong. Same as
Yeah.
me. I
And
like racing motorbikes and all this kind of stuff.
it's
Do you get
right.
what I mean?
We can't judge how we deal with it, can we? Everyone deals with it their way, and no one would want to judge that way. If it helps you,
Yeah.
then that's the right way, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly, mate. Exactly. So just before to draw to that close, then there's that little cue, mate. If I'm honest with you, so if someone's watching this and they can relate, however, let's just say they got the feelings, what would you tell them to do? Just before to draw to a close. I know
I
you
mean,
said
if
you've got
they're
the
in
but
my position, or what, after losing someone, or generally
yeah,
just not feeling good,
I guess, yeah. Let's go
uh,
with that then.
I'd say have hope, and just if you really want to go and get something, just get out there and keep trying. It's really tough to start. When I started, it took me ages to even do a 5K. It took me like nearly an hour, and I struggled. I had to stop for water breaks. I was in a mess. That was 2019. I hadn't run a mile since this all started in 2019. So it's
Yeah,
been like 4 years. I haven't been a general runner for long, and but I just wanted it. I just wanted to go and improve myself. So, and again, being outside makes such a difference. Just getting that
yeah,
space and clearing your head, getting away from the screens, getting away from the anxiety of being inside. I'd definitely say that's the biggest thing for me is just the outdoors, walking, running, Just getting the heart going a little bit.
Yeah.
It might work for some, it might not for others, but for me, that's been my mainstay really. That's been what's helped me so much.
Yeah. Well, and I do stand strong on this. I'm not suggesting people go racing motorbikes, wild camping, running
Yeah,
marathons and all this kind of stuff. But I don't know a single person, probably on the planet, bold claim, who's never felt better from a 5 minute walk.
exactly. Yeah, that's it. And it's
Literally,
all, it doesn't
literally
have
to
to
the
be
shot.
far.
Yeah.
Like you say, you don't have to go and run a marathon. You don't have to run a half marathon. You can just go for a good long walk.
Yeah.
Just that half an hour outside will make such a difference on your day. I've never seen any negatives from it. I'm
Yeah.
sure you haven't either. I think
Yeah.
it's always that positive feeling when you get back that you've
Exactly.
done something.
Do you know, sometimes the worst thing to happen, it slams it down.
Yeah,
And then you come back and you laugh because you got soaked anyway. But you might moan about it, but you just still end up laughing about it. You got completely and utterly
yeah. We
soaked.
done an event on Saturday morning, the Suffolk Maverick out near Rendlesham through Tunstall
Oh,
Forest
okay,
Way.
yeah,
Brilliant event, and we're running through massive floods, puddles, just thinking, who cares? We're having fun, and we're out there in the fresh air, and it's them sort of things that just you can switch off.
yeah,
There's so much to worry about now in this life. We all have these worries. We're all carrying it. Um, you know, I'm sure even the person that looks the strongest and seems like they've got the perfect life, I'm sure deep down they have the moments. We all do. We've just got to accept that. Um, but if you can find something that just keeps you away from them worries for a little while and gives you that break, then just go and do it.
yeah.
And if it's at half an hour or a few hours out, that's benefit. If it benefits you, just make them plans and do it. Don't put it off.
Good video, my friend.
Thanks a lot.
Let me hit the stop thingy for 1 second.